Donald Trump didn't create the angst over undocumented workers taking Americans' jobs. He just tapped into it. The reality is there are plenty of illegal immigrants working here on our beloved Suncoast. They are cutting your lawns. They are picking your tomatoes. In short, as Adam Cellini tells us, they are doing many of the jobs that we don't want to do.
Early in the morning, hours before sunrise, a gaggle of hard hats and fluorescent shirts flock to a 2-mile stretch of US 301, where vans are waiting to take them to their career for the day. It's the life of a day laborer, a career that rarely promises more than 12 hours of work at a time, an industry dominated by Hispanic immigrants who are also dominating this election cycle.
We have to build a wall.
We have to finally, once and for all, fix our immigration system.
Immigration, arguably one of the most divisive topics between presidential candidates. Trump proposing to tackle immigration at the border, while Clinton suggests taking care of those already in the country.
What's going to happen is if you're going to be a citizen, you're going to have to leave and you're going to have to come in.
I would not deport children. I do not want to deport family members either.
According to the National Day Labor Survey taken within the last decade, 80% of curbside day labor was from Mexico or Central America, and half were undocumented.
Now you're actually losing American jobs by keeping them here.
Local attorney Sarah Blackwell says it's one of the only ways an illegal immigrant can survive.
There's no way to allow an illegal immigrant to work legally. So there has to be these systems that allow them to work, which is a shame because it puts them in a situation where they're taken advantage of.
No documentation, no need for insurance, minimum wage, overtime, or any other amenities required by law.
If you're going to allow them to stay, you need to allow them to work. Otherwise, you are literally treating them in a way that lets them be slaves.
As CEO of Protect U.S. Workers, Blackwell feels this also creates a competitive disadvantage for Americans. But economics professor Michael Snipes says don't forget who ultimately pays for the cost of fair wages and treatment.
That's certainly something that consumers could see, that if firms are experiencing an increase in cost because we are kind of no longer relying on day laborers, that could reflect an increase in cost that could be showing up in increase in price.
And if half the workforce was suddenly deported across the borders, Snipes says there would certainly be a shock, but it would be felt mostly outside of Florida.
If that were to happen, I wouldn't expect it to have much of an effect on Florida. I would expect the effects to be much greater where there's a higher percentage of illegal immigrants. You know, California, Texas, Arizona, places that do have more illegal immigrants that do this type of day labor work.
Mike Molketin is the general manager of Trojan Labor, one of 4 temp agencies on that stretch of US 301. These are the most common sources of day labor in Sarasota, and a place where no papers means no job. But their attention to detail also seems to be hurting supply. Mike estimates only 5% of his workforce is Hispanic.
We have more work than people. Every day we're out recruiting people, ads in the paper, Craigslist. Usually have more work than people.
Perhaps the struggles at Trojan Labor are an example of life without an immigrant workforce, a life where Americans would rather be unemployed than perform labor.
Kind of makes me upset because we'll go out asking people if they want to work and they turn us down.
The construction boom has been a major driver of day labor in downtown Sarasota recently, but other common day labor jobs here locally include housekeeping, landscaping, and up in East Manatee County, farm work. In Sarasota, Adam Cellini, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Adam. And when we return, we'll take up the immigration debate on our roundtable.